Right now, there is something in your life you are trying to control. A situation, a person, an outcome that refuses to align with your expectations. And it is draining you, not because it is difficult, but because it does not belong to you. So let me ask you something carefully. What if the chaos you feel is not coming from life, but from holding on to the wrong things? Because here's what most people never notice. When life feels out of control, we don't lose control all at once. We lose it quietly, through 1,000 tiny attachments. A need to be understood, a need to fix everything, a need to make life predictable, and without realizing it, we start gripping everything tighter. But control does not respond to force. It responds to clarity. This is where extreme minimalism begins to separate itself, not as a lifestyle of empty rooms, but as a discipline of precise control, a way of living where you stop managing the noise and start choosing what is even allowed to exist in your life. This is what I call quiet earth living. Not loud, not performative, not obsessed with doing more, but grounded, steady, almost invisible, like the earth beneath your feet, holding everything, while chasing nothing. And today, we are not revisiting minimalism because it is trendy. We return to it because every time life slips out of our hands, it reminds us of the same truth. You were never meant to control everything, only a few things, but those few things change everything. So now the question is no longer, what is going wrong in your life? But rather, what are you trying to control that was never yours to begin with? Because in moments like these, when life feels out of control, most people don't lack effort. They lack direction. They try to fix everything at once. They chase stability in a world that is constantly shifting. And in doing so, they exhaust their mind, their energy, their sense of self. But extreme minimalism was never designed to fix everything. It was designed to do something far more powerful, to reduce the battlefield, to shrink life down to only what truly matters. So your energy is no longer scattered, but focused. This is where intentional living stops being a concept and becomes a form of control. Not control over people, not control over outcomes, but control over inputs. What you allow into your space, what you allow into your mind, what you allow into your time. Because here's the uncomfortable truth most avoid. Your life does not feel chaotic because it is chaotic. It feels chaotic because too many things have access to you. And quiet earth living asks you to do something radical, not to fight the chaos, but to quietly remove everything that feeds it. So in this video, we are not talking about doing more. We are talking about controlling less, but controlling it so precisely that life begins to feel steady again. If you want to understand where control truly begins, do not look at your goals. Look at your surroundings. Because your environment is not just a backdrop to your life. It is actively shaping your thoughts, your focus, and your emotional state. Every object in your space carries a silent demand to be noticed, to be managed, to be remembered. And when these demands accumulate, your mind begins to mirror the same disorder. This is where a minimalist mindset becomes essential. Not to create an empty space, but to create a controlled space. A space where everything present has earned its place. Because when you reduce the unnecessary, you are not just removing objects, you are removing decisions. And with fewer decisions comes reduced mental fatigue. This is not just about decluttering your room. This is about reducing the invisible weight your environment places on your mind. A cluttered space whispers constantly, "Deal with me later." A controlled space quietly says, "You are in charge." And that subtle shift is the beginning of regaining control when life feels out of control. Once your space begins to stabilize, a deeper layer of control reveals itself. Because even a controlled environment can be overwhelmed by what you continuously bring into it. Every purchase, every habit of consumption, is a quiet decision that shapes your future. And most people never question it. They buy to feel better. They buy to keep up. They buy to fill a void that was never meant to be filled with objects. But in simple living and intentional living, consumption is no longer automatic. It becomes deliberate. You begin to ask, before anything enters your life, does this serve me or distract me? Will this simplify my life or add to its complexity. Because here is the hidden truth. Excess consumption does not just cost money. It fragments your focus. It increases maintenance. It multiplies your responsibilities. And over time, it creates a quiet pressure, a constant sense that you must keep up with what you own. But when you reduce consumption, you are not restricting your life. You are refining it. This is where minimalism tips stop being surface-level advice and become a system of filtering reality itself. Because the less you allow in, the less you have to manage, and the more energy you reclaim for what actually matters. That is not deprivation. That is control. Now we arrive at something even more fragile than space and more valuable than possessions: your time. Because unlike objects, time does not accumulate. It disappears. And yet, most people treat it as if it is endless. They fill their days with obligations that sound important, but rarely are. Meetings that drain, commitments that linger, tasks that feel productive but lead nowhere. And slowly, your calendar begins to control you. This is where productivity is often misunderstood. It is not about doing more. It is about removing what does not deserve your time. Because when your schedule is overloaded, your attention becomes scattered, and scattered attention leads to a scattered life. But through intentional living, you begin to reclaim your time through a quiet but powerful discipline. The ability to say no, not out of avoidance, but out of clarity. Every yes you give is a silent commitment of your future energy. So the question becomes, is this worth my time, or is it just filling it? Because when you control your time, you control the direction of your life. And in moments when everything feels out of control, this may be the one thing that restores your sense of stability. And yet, even after controlling your space, your consumption, and your time, there is still one place where control is quietly lost: your digital world. Because unlike the physical, the digital never stops. It follows you. It interrupts you. It demands your attention without permission. Notifications, endless scrolling, constant comparison. Each one is a small fracture in your focus. And over time, these fractures become a state of constant distraction. This is where digital minimalism becomes more than a concept. It becomes protection, not from technology itself, but from the uncontrolled access it has to your mind. Because when everything can reach you, nothing is truly under your control. So you begin to reshape your relationship with the digital world, not by rejecting it, but by restricting its influence. You decide when to engage. You decide what deserves your attention. You decide what stays silent. And in doing so, you are no longer reacting to the world. You are choosing it. This is where clarity returns. And in a life that feels out of control, clarity is one of the rarest forms of control you can reclaim. And now, we arrive at the most subtle, yet the most decisive layer of control: your mind. Because even if your space is controlled, your consumption is refined, your time is protected, and your digital world is quiet, none of it will hold if your mindset remains unchanged. This is where most people unknowingly lose control, not through external chaos, but through internal resistance. Expectations of how life should unfold, comparisons to lives that were never meant to be yours, and an attachment to outcomes that were never guaranteed. This constant internal negotiation creates pressure, and pressure creates anxiety. But through mindfulness and mental clarity, you begin to observe something powerful. Not every thought deserves authority. Not every expectation deserves belief. And not every desire deserves pursuit. This is where extreme minimalism evolves beyond the physical. It becomes a mental discipline. You begin to remove unnecessary expectations, just as you would remove unnecessary objects. Because the mind, when cluttered, creates suffering. But when simplified, it becomes stable. And in that stability, you no longer chase control. You embody it. So when we step back and observe everything we have explored, we begin to see a pattern. Control was never meant to be scattered across everything in your life. Not your environment, not your consumption, not your time, not even the endless stream of thoughts in your mind. True control is selective. It is the discipline of choosing what deserves your attention and what does not. And this is where extreme minimalism reveals its deeper purpose. It is not about living with less for the sake of less. It is about creating a life where nothing unnecessary has authority over you, where your space supports you, your habits align with you, your time serves you, and your mind no longer works against you. Because when life feels out of control, you do not fix everything. You reduce everything that is not essential. That is how control returns. Now I want to hear from you. What is one thing in your life that you are still trying to control? But no, deep down, it is not yours to control. Leave it in the comments below. And if you are committed to intentional living and want to continue building a life of clarity, discipline, and quiet strength, subscribe to the channel. Because the journey does not end here. It only becomes more refined.